Let's talk about couch co-op RPGs on the Nintendo Switch, in no particular order. Diablo 3 Eternal Collection. Some still consider this to be the peak of the Diablo series. It has drop-in, drop-out couch co-op for up to 4 players on the same screen, and it has real-time action between the story campaign, adventure mode, rifts, seasons, and endless loot grinding. There's always something to chase. There's 7 distinct classes, and each have their own unique skills. And then there's just tons of room for synergy. Every few minutes you're getting new gear, upgrading your build, or discovering some crazy legendary item. And there's just tons of freedom to tweak skills, runes, gear, and passive abilities to match your style. You could play a 15-minute rift or lose a whole weekend grinding with your friends. It's flexible and satisfying either way. Like I said, many still consider this to be the peak of the Diablo series, and maybe dungeon crawlers in general. Now let's talk about the collection of Mana. This has 3 games in one. The first one is Final Fantasy Adventure. This one is more of like a Zelda-style solo RPG. It came out on the original Game Boy, only 1 player. But the games that I wanted to talk about are Secret of Mana. It's a real-time action RPG where you and up to 2 friends can go through the entire story, grinding together, exploring, and battling your way all the way to the end. And it's drop-in, drop-out co-op. So if your friends aren't available, the computer will take control of the other players. I still think this is one of the best RPGs of all time. And it was a rarity to just see any full-length RPG that had local co-op, especially 3 players at this time. And the other game in this collection is Seiken Densetsu 3, and now it's known as Trials of Mana in the US. But this game, up until this collection, had only ever been out in Japan, so we finally got a full translation that you could play in English. And I think that this is an improvement in just about every way from Secret of Mana. I think this is the best of the series, and again, one of the best co-op RPGs of all time. Unfortunately though, this one is only 2 players. But there are now 6 characters that you can choose from, and there's branching paths and different storylines, just tons of replay value here, and the art style is beautiful. So if you're looking for some co-op RPGs, you definitely can't go wrong here. Secret of Mana and Seiken Densetsu 3 are just 2 of the best RPGs of all time. And while we're talking about the Mana series, let's mention Legend of Mana. This got a full remaster on the Nintendo Switch as well. Legend of Mana is an action RPG that originally came out on the PS1, but recently a remake came out that's been ported to modern platforms. If you're familiar with the Mana series, Secret of Mana and Seiken Densetsu 3 are some of the best co-op action RPGs ever made. And Legend of Mana is another great entry in the series as well. Although I wouldn't say it's as good as those ones, it's still really solid. But the main step up here are the visuals. This is one of the best looking 2D games I've ever seen. It has this really beautiful, hand-drawn watercolor look. You can play through the whole game in 2-player co-op, but the second player pretty much is at the whim of player 1, and they're not going to have the same character throughout the entire game. They're going to switch up based on the story. This ends up working out pretty well, but I wish that it was a little bit more equal. But ultimately, Legend of Mana, it was one of my favorite co-op games on the PS1, so I'm really glad that it was ported to modern platforms. And having it on Game Pass means even more people can enjoy this game. And now a game that was heavily inspired by the Mana series, Trinity Trigger. This one even has 3-player local co-op, just like Secret of Mana. Basically a spiritual successor to those old school Mana games, down to the overhead perspective, elemental weapons, and real-time battles. You can swap between 8 weapon types on the fly, charge up big attacks, and combo enemies together. It's simple but satisfying. Each character has a living weapon partner called a trigger that transforms into different weapons. It feels like a cool evolution of the job system. Like a lot of these games, this has those classic JRPG towns, forests, temples, all with a very nostalgic feeling. It's not trying to reinvent the wheel, it's just another really solid RPG that you can play with 2 other friends. Haven is a chill, romantic, sci-fi RPG built entirely around 2-player co-op. You play as a couple, you and Kay, exploring, surviving, and loving each other through every moment. not tacked on multiplayer. The whole thing's meant to be shared. You control one character each and time your attacks in sync. One player might be charging up a blast while the other shields or interrupts. Super rhythmic and surprisingly strategic. You'll gather materials, cook meals, upgrade your gear, and manage health and fatigue. Enough depth to stay interesting, but chill enough for casual co-op players. This is intimate RPG storytelling, not save the world stuff, more like build a life together on a strange planet. It's a game that's definitely made to be played with a romantic partner, if you can. That being said, there is a lot of dialogue here, and you'll be fine if you want to skip through a bunch of it. But this is one of those more slow-paced games. If you're into fast-paced dungeon crawlers or number-crunching RPGs, this one might not be your thing. Tales of Vesperia Definitive Edition. The Tales series are known for their co-op gameplay. However, it's different from other games. As you're going through the story and going in and out of towns, it's a single player experience, but it becomes a co-op game for up to 4 players when you get into battles. And it's all in real time. Fights are fast-paced, combo-driven, and just super flashy. Each player can pick a role, melee, magic, support, whatever fits your playstyle. And there's a huge cast of playable characters. Sword users, spellcasters, punchy brawlers, even a dog with a dagger in his mouth. There's a huge opportunity for you all to work together. It has a really nice anime aesthetic. Cel-shaded visuals, expressive characters, and a full Japanese or English voice cast. It holds up well even today. But just so you know, these are huge games. Expect 40 to 60 hours minimum. It might not be ideal for a party setting with 4 players, as everyone but player 1 will be sitting around for a lot of the time. But if you have the patience, it can still be a great co-op experience. Children of Morta. This is a heartfelt hack-and-slash roguelite RPG with a beautiful pixel art style. The whole game supports local co-op start to finish. No unlocks, no gimmicks, jump in together and start fighting the corruption as a team. From the beginning, you're playing as members of the Bergson family, and they all have different fighting styles. You have ranged, melee, magic, brawlers, agile rogues. There's just great variety. And when playing 2 players, you can kind of pick and choose which team works best together. Unlike most roguelites, this one cares about its story. Even after failed runs, the plot moves forward with narration and emotional cutscenes. The game has some real emotional depth, but the controls are very responsive. You have quick dodge rolls, satisfying attacks, and special abilities that make every character feel useful in co-op. Even if you are not successful with a run, you still earn XP and resources to upgrade the whole family's skills. So every run matters. Like I said, the pixel art here is gorgeous. This is some of the best 2D pixel art I have seen in modern times. This is an excellent co-op game, but all that being said, it is very difficult, so you have to find a partner who can match your skill and patience. One of the more recent indie games that I fell in love with was Cassette Beasts. Being a kid that grew up being obsessed with Pokemon, I always wanted to have a co-op experience. And I think Cassette Beasts is that experience that I always wanted. This game is clearly influenced by Pokemon in just about every way. It's a turn-based RPG where you capture monsters and then you train them to battle other monsters. A shameless ripoff of Pokemon, but I don't think it's trying to hide that fact. The whole game is music focused. So instead of actually capturing the Pokemon, you're going to use a tape to record them. As a music focused game, it has a great soundtrack. It's just nice lo-fi beats. And it's also cool that you and your friend can just wander the environment together. And there's no random battles. If you see a monster, you can try to avoid them. And then once you get into battles, you each take control of your own Cassette Beast, and you can choose what attacks you want to do in the turn-based battles. I also love the visuals here. It's got that HD pixel art style. Anyway, if you're a fan of Pokemon, definitely try Cassette Beasts. Cat Quest 3. Now, this is the second game in the series to have local co-op. So if you're familiar, it's basically like a dungeon crawler action RPG that you can play in 2-player co-op. And this one might be the best in the series. This is a really equal co-op experience, and the second player can join in from the very beginning of the game. They're also able to talk to NPCs, control the map, and do all the same upgrades that player 1 can do. And yeah, this is a game you really don't need to play the first 2. It's kind of just a standalone game. You're not going to miss any story. And even if you did, who cares? You're not playing this for the story, okay? It's just a cute, fun action RPG that you can play with a friend. And yeah, this is another one that you can definitely pick up and play with your family. And the last game that I want to talk about is the latest one on this list, Sea of Stars. I know that this game was originally a single-player experience, but as of November 12th, the DLC titled Dawn of Equinox was released. This update allows you to play through the entire story in 3-player local co-op. And this is what I've been waiting for. I remember when this game was originally announced on Kickstarter, and co-op was one of the features that they talked about. But when it came out, it was for some reason missing. So I'm really glad that they finally came around and added it. I love RPG games, and there's just not enough co-op RPGs. Everything about Sea of Stars is exactly what I would want in a co-op game. I love the visuals, the active turn-based combat kept my interest, and it's just a really long story-based game built around co-op. This might just be one of the best co-op games of 2024. So those are just 10 of my favorite co-op RPGs on the Nintendo Switch. What are your favorites? And if you enjoyed this video, you'll probably like this one about co-op beat-em-ups on the Nintendo Switch. Thanks for watching.